Scott Wolf is here in the studio with us this morning, and I couldn't be more excited. So,
Heyo.
have you ever sat in that chair in this studio? I don't think so.
I've not.
No, you've come to the TV show many times.
Yes.
But this is great to have you in person because I felt like I knew you when I was growing up in Atlanta watching you on Fox on Party of Five.
Yeah.
How old were you when you got the gig?
I think it was 24 when I got it.
Wow.
So when I
Which was a little controversial behind the scenes because
you're playing.
I was playing a 15-year-old and the casting director. So at the time I was dating someone who had done a People magazine spread.
Okay.
And I was like the boyfriend, but they said how old I was. They announced that I was 24. And she came running out of the Fox casting office and she grabbed me by my shirt collar, pulled me to the end of the hall, and she was like, "How old are you?" And I was like, She was like, "Tell me the truth." I was like, "You really want me to tell you the truth?" And she said, "I do." I was like, "I'm 24. She was like, "Damn it. Damn it." She was like, "You make me the last person you ever tell how old you really are."
Because she was so worried you were playing such a young guy on TV.
The casting executives were in the office with the People magazine going, "Wait a second."
Oh, my God.
But there was a bit of a roadmap because, 90210 was on already.
Well, Ian Ziering was 30.
He was 112.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Sometimes I remember when we were in school, it was always like, Ian Ziering, Steve is like 33.
Totally.
Driving that Corvette.
Totally.
But no, I remember seeing the character thinking, oh, whoever the guy is, Scott Wolf is the guy, his life must be perfect. Like, to be a star at that, I mean, that was a huge show.
Yeah.
Early in your career must have been the coolest blessing in the world.
It was amazing. It was amazing. I mean, you only you only get one chance to make a first big impression.
Yeah.
And so I lucked out. We all did to wind up having our first sort of here we are be something that was so incredibly written, great characters, great stories, something that I'm proud of to this day. And you don't really get to choose that at that point in a career.
You got to take what
you're
you're offered,
taking what
right?
you're offered.
Yeah.
But you watched it all back now as an adult, haven't you?
So I went down like a Party of Five rabbit hole the other day.
This is the best.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little while ago now. It was a few years back. So it went onto Netflix. I hadn't seen a frame of it in over a decade.
Right.
Maybe 15 years.
Yeah.
And someone was like, "Hey, your old show is on Netflix." I was like, "Get out of here." So one night in this apartment in Albuquerque, I was making some show down there. And I was like, "Oh, no way. They're all here." And I was like, I should just watch a scene maybe. I'm
Next
telling
thing
you,
know.
dude,
Oh, no.
like 7 hours later, tissues and bonbons. And I was like, this
Stars, they're just like us.
But it was really emotional. I mean, it was it was like dipping back into your old photo albums, and I mean, look, it was I think people like hearing that we loved the experience as much as they loved watching it, and it was absolutely true.
Yeah, because you hear so many, like you have favorite TV shows whenever, and then you hear how torturous it was to go to those sets. We're happy that it wasn't that way for you.
It was not.
That
It
makes
was
us
not.
feel better. Now he's got an amazing family. I've seen pictures of the family.
Yeah.
They
Beautiful
ski.
There's kids.
He goes to hot dad camp. He just told me that this week.
What is hot dad camp?
It's a CW enforced thing. When you sign on to play a dad on the CW, you go to Hot Dad Camp.
Got it.
It's in it's in July.
Apparently, this is unofficial, but from what I've heard from my sources, the CW likes to cast dads in the dad role that are still good looking enough to be the kids.
Yeah, that's
Mark
right.
Consuelos?
Mark Consuelo.
Mark
That was
Consuelos.
just thinking
Scott
of
Wolf?
him.
I mean, we rest our case.
Right.
But
But at what point do you here's the thing. Like you were young all your life, and then you become unyoung at some point. I don't know what you are now, but you're
I'm 51.
what?
No.
I loathe you.
I know, it's
You're
bananas.
such a jerk.
Yeah, but
He
look,
even knows it.
you.
Yeah, but I'm 45. You're 6 over me.
We've both made deals with somebody.
This is why he was playing a 15-year-old when he was like 25.
You look 25. I'm shocked.
But listen
It's
to
weird.
this. He's
It's
married, Tanya. Listen to this. At what point do you? So we all know that we feel young, we play young roles, we live a young life.
Yeah.
But then you look down at your birthday cake and you're like,
Yeah.
oh God, there's a 5 something.
Yeah.
But then you look in the mirror and go, but there's not really a 5 something.
No.
That's a great revelation.
It's cool. Yes, it's a mixed. It's weird. It's weird. Seeing the 5 is like
Wow.
earth shattering. It's strange. I've said it's like the first mortality birthday, right?
Yeah.
Because all the other birthdays are like they're like check-ins. These big ones that end in a 0. 30 is like the kind of career one.
Yeah, and then 40, it's like I'm an adult.
I'm a grown up,
Yeah.
and how's my whole life look?
And then 50, I'm
is
dying in the next 50.
Yeah, like my days are numbered. I'm on the other side
No.
of the hill.
Oh, he's doing well. Nancy Drew. Now, this is inspired by the Nancy Drew book series. It's a series on the CW, but it's got a different torque to it, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. I mean, the main difference, those books were written almost 100 years ago.
I can't believe that.
Crazy. And they've been such an indelible presence in our culture, and for good reason. The books are amazing. I actually have gone down Nancy Drew rabbit holes.
So
with
you
the
had to
books.
kind of get acclimated?
You don't really, I don't think I had to, but I wanted to find inspiration from those books, and they're incredible. I've read now like 7 of them. But I think the main difference is it's a very contemporary telling of this story. So there's a deep supernatural spookiness to it. So all of the things that are hinted at in the book, where Nancy would kind of hear something over her shoulder, and it was just like a farmer dropping like a broom. Now it's like actual ghosts,
Right?
And so it's like created these layers of realms where Nancy's sleuthing needs to be applied.
It's so perfect for CW, and then of course streaming, I'm sure too. But it's like, and it's programming partners, right, with Consuelos' show, isn't it?
Yes, we are on back to back with Riverdale, which is
the Archie spin,
which is a big deal.
Hey, before your movie, what celebrity do people tell you look like?
You know, historically, I've gotten a blend between people say if Michael J. Fox and Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
had
I'm
a
seeing
kid.
Just
Tom
thinking
Cruise.
that.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
seeing
Tom
Michael J.
Cruise.
Fox.
Yeah,
Really?
see?
Yeah.
Yes.
I see Yanni.
I'll take Annie.
Yanni.
Laurel,
see. No, but it's funny.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny because you do have Tom Cruise's like some of the mannerisms are similar. This is a compliment, by the way.
I'll take it as a
I would
compliment.
love. No, like
Yeah.
you have some Tom Cruise mannerisms which are fantastic.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of his.
Has anybody ever mistaken you for Michael or Tom?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
That's-
really?
I was getting.
That's the best.
I think it's mostly happened with Michael. And I was getting a sandwich, and the guy's like wrapping my sandwich up, and he's giving me these winks and nods, like, I know
who you
your
are.
secret's safe with me. You're good.
Yeah.
You're
And
good.
when he hands me his sandwich, he was like, Family Ties is my all-time favorite.
Oh,
I was
no.
like, that guy just met Michael J. Fox.
And do you tell him he's wrong or just let him live his
walked up
fantasy
the
out?
street and
That's
he
the
lived his
best.
best day.
That is the best. I know you know that I know, but I'm not going to say anything, Michael. Well, so Inside Game. This is a new movie too that's in theaters. It's it says the mastermind behind real life scam to betting on the NBA, right?
Yeah. It's a true story of one of the biggest sports betting scandals in history, the biggest sports scandal ever that affected the NBA. It was a ref. It was a deeply immersed ref who reffed hundreds, thousands of games in the NBA. And he was betting on games that he was officiating. And the fact is, most people, I knew myself, I'm a huge sports fan. I knew about this story. I had no idea.
Was he calling it? Was he calling it for his benefit?
Well, so to this day, he maintains that he never made a bad call on the floor.
But he was betting before the game.
He was betting before the game, but he was using all this information he had. He said that referee crews had these tendencies. Some guys didn't like a certain player or a team. They knew about injuries before games were happening that the general public didn't. So he says he capitalized all of that information to his advantage and won games. It stretches the bounds of most people's reason.
Yeah, it's very inappropriate.
To think that the guy could be on the floor, and here's what I believe. I believe he believes he never made a bad call, but human nature is, this team's got to win by 6 for you to win.
So obviously it was a true story, so we would know the outcome. Was he penalized?
Yeah, prison.
Wow.
In jail.
Yeah, and what's great about the movie is it's like the Titanic. You come in, you know what happens to the boat.
But how?
But how does it happen? And you go on this journey.
Well, not only that, I would be thinking about every sporting event or match I watch from the next day forward.
Yeah.
after
100%,
seeing that,
I
right?
100%.
think about that.
I mean, I was looking at the World Series. I'm going, wait a minute.
Yeah, come on.
7 games.
That's
Everybody
right.
makes out when it's 7
Everyone's
games.
a winner.
Everybody's kind of a winner.
Yeah.
And you hate to think like that, but
I mean, look, these are human endeavors, right? That these aren't robots in striped jerseys
Right.
calling fouls and balls and
Right.
strikes. And so, human nature is involved, and I think the movie kind of holds that ambiguity. And it also tells the story through the eyes of these three human beings who had children and wives and families and financial obligations and pressures. And so I think the deeper you dig beneath the layers of this story, whereas you just heard, oh, dirty ref, terrible guy, check. I think this movie really
Gives you the layers.
It does.
So that's Inside Game. That's in theaters. And, of course, Nancy Drew, Wednesdays, 9, 8 Central on the CW. Scott Wolf, good to see you, buddy.
Thank you
for
so
coming
much,
by.
man. Great to see you.